and you get 30% off your order. So go to Rare Naturals with an SCBD.com. Use the promo code Lucy at checkout. Get 30% off your order. Do it to it. It's awesome. All right. Uh-oh. Restream is having a little bit of issues. Okay, are we still live? We just lost the stream. Okay. See what's going on here. It's saying we're online, but the stream dropped. All right. So I don't know if we're back or what happened. We lost the stream. Okay, let me see if anyone's reached out to me directly. All right, it's telling me that I'm live. I don't know if we're back. Oh, okay, it looks like we're back. It looks like we're back. All right. And looks like we're back. Okay, we had a glitch there, but it looks like we're back. Anyone watching, if you could verify in the chat that we're here, that'd be super. So let's see. Okay, we're live on YouTube, but the chat's disabled. All right, let me know if the chat is available now. I just re-enabled the chat. All right, welcome back. We're getting some welcome backs. It looks like we're back. All right, it looks like we are back. And hopefully everything is now okay. All right, chat's back now. Okay, cool. It looks like we're back. Good day. What's up, everybody? Thank you for your help. All right, so we had a glitch there for a second, but it looks like we are back. We are officially back. What's up? Sorry about the glitch there. We went out for a second. The stream told me we were out. I don't know if it was a StreamYard thing or if it was a YouTube thing or if it was an all the above thing. Who knows? But we are back. And I have some awesome guests today. Let me make sure they're ready. And you guys good?
See a power chat here on YouTube, but
yeah, I think we're back. I think we're good. Sorry about that, but yeah, we are good. Yeah, people are coming back. We're good.
All right.
Yeah. People are asking who pulled the plug. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, the stream was just like not happening. And now it's back. But all right, so let me bring my guest in, and I'm sorry that they had to deal with a goofy for instance here. But my guest today is one of my favorite bands happening right now. They're amazing. I got to meet them a little over a year ago, and we've become friends. We've even collaborated, and you guys have heard me talk about them on the show a lot. Please welcome James and Tiffany from Fire Tiger. What's up, y'all?
Hello.
Hey. Thanks for having me.
Sorry about the awkward, making it happen thing, but yeah, it was weird. The stream just hiccuped, and then it came back.
All good.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Are you drinking coffee? Is that coffee?
Always liquid cocaine.
Oh yeah, no kidding. It's tis the season. Yeah. And you know, as fellow creatives, I feel like you can relate to this. I consider Get Your News On with Ron a morning show. I know it's 11, but this is a morning show, right?
11 is the morning, 11 a.m.
Right. Yes, this is a morning show. I've been doing a morning show for a long time now. I used to do it even earlier. I don't know how I did that. Like the more I think, I'm like, I don't know how I did this at 10 a.m. I don't know how I functioned at 10 a.m. 11 still pushing it, but you know, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with 11.
You wake up at what time?
I wake up at like 9. And then I just kind of, I mean, I usually kind of go through what I want to do for the show, like some the night before. I see what people have tweeted me. I see what's going on. And then I just kind of like have everything set because I'm a night owl, not a morning guy. And then I'll wake up and the cat, like Lucy's usually like, hey, we're doing this. And I won't feed her before 9 a.m. because if I do, she'll get used to it. But then after our back and forth, I'm like, okay, it's after 9. I can feed you now. And I feed her. And then we hang out. I do whatever for the show. I get the link to the guest, and then I just prep for it, and then I just do the thing. So, you know, I mean, if I could just wake up right at 10:45, that'd probably be easier. But
definitely, that's a lot to do in an hour. Like all that Twitter, and then your cat, and
well, hey,
your
sometimes
hair looks awesome.
Oh, thank you. You guys look great too. The last time we saw each other in person was my wedding, which that's the last time I saw most people in person.
Oh yeah. That was so fun.
You had it just in time.
I know.
Yeah.
We just made it. Like we literally just made it. I'm very thankful for that because people I know who are in the position where they're trying to figure out what to do. Some people they're having weddings where it's just like a couple family members, or they're having people come in shifts and social distancing, which I wouldn't have wanted to do any of that. I just would have been like, hey, you know what? We're going to go to the courthouse and we're going to have a big ass party once this is all over. That's what we're going to do.
A Zoom wedding.
Some people have done that. Not the same, but I know some people have done it, and my heart goes out to them. I mean, I feel bad for people in that situation. But let's talk the news, and then we're going to talk about the new album for Music Monday. But first, it's a bummer that this is how we start off the week. And bummer's putting it gently. And by the way, the same thing happened last week. There has been yet another police shooting, this time in Wisconsin. Last week, we started off the week. There was one right in my neighborhood. In Pasadena, California, there was a police shooting right in my neighborhood, and they're both similar here in the sense that the person's back was turned pretty much. Let's go right to it. This is Jacob Blake in Wisconsin, which, by the way, as of the recording of this, Jacob Blake is still alive, so we'll see. He's in critical condition, but as of right now, as of the recording of this, he is still alive. But here's what's going on so far. So let's watch this video. So there he is. That's the guy they shoot. So they have their gun pointed at him. He's just walking to his car. They shoot him 7 times.
Oh, my God.
They pull him out of his car, shoot him 7 times. All right, so here's the best part. Here's what he did. What we know so far, this guy broke up a fight. He broke up a fight between 2 people.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason, police were confronting him. I don't know. I mean, the guy broke up a fight. I don't know why they were antagonizing him. Why wouldn't they just say, hey, thanks for breaking up that fight. Have a nice day. I don't know the answer to that. As of right now, I have no idea why they were antagonizing a guy who broke up a fight. You see him walk over to his car. By the way, his kids were in the car. 3 kids. I think 3, 5, and 8 were their ages, but they were young kids. And they shoot him 7 times.
Where was this?
This was in Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yeah. So this happened in Wisconsin. It happened just now. And I know, like, I mentioned this briefly to you guys off mic, and I know you hadn't seen this yet in the news this morning. So, surprise, you get to find out and respond to it live in real time on Get Your News On with Ron. It's just, well, let's talk like bigger picture, because I mean, right now, and I know some people are saying they're just like, well, he was going into his car and they didn't know what was in his car. Like maybe he had a gun or something like that. And it's like, okay, so if you had to restrain the guy from going into his car because you think that he's going to reach for a gun and start shooting at officers, with his kids in the car. You think that that's what this guy's going to do, which, you know, a bit of a stretch, but let's just entertain the idea that, okay, you think that's what that guy's going to do. You couldn't, multiple officers on the scene couldn't restrain a guy from going into his car without shooting him 7 times.
Crazy.
They had to shoot him 7 times
Yeah.
to restrain a guy from going into his car when you have him outnumbered. And so far,
7 times. Like not
7
just,
times.
and why not just like, you know, I don't want to repeat what didn't Joe Biden say, why don't you just shoot him in the leg or something?
Yeah, that was Joe Biden's.
Some that makes sense a little bit, you know, I have to agree. Like, why don't you just, if you're going to shoot him, which is wrong, why do you have to shoot him 7 times in the back like that? Like, if you shoot someone in the calf, that's going to paralyze them, most likely, you would think.
Or at least stop them from getting in their car.
Stop them, yeah.
Yeah, but if
I mean, it's going to stop them. Yeah.
The fact that they're shooting them 7 times in the back just shows you how excessive they are, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know, this is one of those things where it's like, we can't, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? My take on the whole thing is we can't reform the police. It's too late. That ship has sailed. This is a systemic disease that's been going on for so long now. And it's been going on, by the way, when you really want to trace it back. I mean, this has basically been going on for centuries.
Well,
really.
Have they tried really doing police reform rather than, this is the one thing we agree on basically everything. I have one thing I kind of wanted to ask you about.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask away.
It's just kind of the whole idea of defunding the police.
Mm-hmm.
A little just to most, I would think to regulars, people who are just come from outside the box. It sounds kind of like
people who live in the city.
It doesn't sound like, it sounds like defunding the fire department or something like that. It doesn't. What exactly is it?
Well, and that's
when we call the police, they don't answer, and we've
right.
Up at our door that looked like they were going to murder us, like looking in our window.
Yeah, when you live in the city.
You know, when you live in the city, it's crazy. And I called the police, no answer. It's busy. Got in a car accident. There was like 10 of us. And
someone rear-ended us.
Someone rear-ended. Yes, it wasn't our fault. We're smart drivers. We called everyone called the police. 30 minutes. We actually there was a police that passed us, and he looked at us, and he was just like, "Sorry, don't have time for you." And I'm like, "Oh my freaking! Like, we need to put more money into that aspect of where they could save us." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
they seem underfunded, actually.
For us, they seem underfunded.
For practical
yeah.
things, yeah.
Well, I mean, they're definitely not. And I think this goes into the misconception that people have. It's just that all that money that they're given goes towards militarization. It goes towards rubber bullets. It goes towards tear gas that they use on citizens. Yeah. It doesn't go towards helping people that got in a car accident. That's not a concern of law enforcement. So, you know, this addresses a couple things. I mean, I think that you're right. The average person, when they hear defund the police, they don't really know what that means. And yeah, it does sound scary. What it actually means is like, and that's why I think as soon as someone says defund the police, the best thing to do is show a graph. And people started doing that, especially here in LA, that really explains what that actually means. Here in Los Angeles, the area that both of us call home, that all of us call home, the police get about, I believe it's 54% of our entire budget. And again, what is that? I mean, that's a lot. That's a freaking lot. What is all of it going towards? Well, it's going towards the rubber bullets that they used on peaceful protesters. It's going towards the tear gas that they used on peaceful protesters.
So
it's going towards
demilitarize the police might be a better term.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel you. Like I understand. Like the messaging does need to be like addressed and tweaked, but I mean, you can't. The other side of that is, I think the time to tiptoe around the fact that we need true systemic change is over, and you know, the time to recognize that we need, you know, very, very significant systemic change to this. You got to address that now. And that does involve, and so when people say defund the police, explaining what they mean, like, no, we don't mean that the police has no budget. We mean that this huge percentage that's getting allocated just to them, we need to rethink that And we need to rethink how that's being spent, what it's being spent on, and it needs to go into social programs. And second of all, the other thing that I would go a step further with, we need to reimagine the way police interact in our lives. I mean, we can go back to the example you guys gave. Why isn't there just like a traffic enforcement specialist who would address you guys? And why do those people need guns?
And mental illness specialists and
yeah. Like why? I mean, I wrote a thing. I took the time, like I wrote this like policy idea. Because like whenever you say we need to reimagine law enforcement in our lives, people will say, well, what do you mean by that? How would you imagine it? So I said, fair enough. I'm going to write out how I would do it. If I was like, you know, mayor of Townsville, this is what I would do. And I would have like different specialized divisions where you have people like the person who responds to a noise complaint at a kegger. That person doesn't need a gun. The person who, you know, responds to a traffic related incident. Why does that person doesn't need a gun either? They should have body cams. They should have, you know, some self-defense weapon should they ever need it.
Yeah.
But why do they need a firearm when someone just got rear-ended?
Yeah.
You know, so I think we need to just completely re-examine that job. You know, when there are cases where force is absolutely necessary, i.e. a live shooter who is a threat to other people, as well as, you know, the police officers or whoever else is on the scene because they are a live shooter. Why are we having these grossly undertrained cops who don't know how to handle that situation? Why are they on that scene? How is anyone safer from that?
Well,
why don't we have... Go ahead.
The key word, I think, is undertrained.
Sure.
More than anything. Because you need to have... I mean, what good is a law if there isn't law enforcement? Like, I think when you were talking about a different issue, net neutrality, and you gave an example of like, oh, well, no one's going to murder anyone. So does that mean that we don't need a law against murder?
Oh, right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think the same thing pertains to, you know, okay, no, there isn't going to be a live shooter, but what if there is one? Do you want the police not to be there with a firearm?
No, I do. I mean, what I think is that we should have, I mean, the way I broke it down in like the piece that I wrote was we should have different divisions, and the division that would respond to something like a live shooter, those are combat officers. That's like kind of like the name I gave them. And they should only respond to situations like that. They should only respond to situations where force may be absolutely, completely 100% unavoidable. A violent domestic dispute, an armed robbery, a live shooter. And what do they do for the rest of their time? They spend their time training for said situation. Who would you want? I mean, would you rather have the guy who just, you know, shot an unarmed person at a traffic stop for no reason? Do you want that person responding to a live shooter? What do you think they're going to do?
Yeah, it's like a surgeon. There's brain surgeons, heart surgeons,
right?
For different
specialists.
Yeah, like a pediatrician has a different job than a heart surgeon.
Yeah,
or a foot doctor or whatever else. And they all have their role. Like, you know, after my car accident, I should have gone to a chiropractor and I didn't. Because health insurance is great in the United States. That's why I didn't go. I don't even know if that part went on the stream or not. But yeah, I think until we see true systemic change, and that's why I say defund the police. And I think we need to go a step further and just reinvent what it means to have police in our lives. And that can be done. That's an attainable thing.
I love how the UK police work. I always see great scenarios where someone's coming at them with a knife and they just take them down. They're so well trained. I don't know why we can't be like that.
I think it's because it's not of interest. I mean, we have the resources to do this. There's no reason why we can't have people that just specialize in traffic, and then people that specialize into like just common disputes where you need an intermediary third party. And then you can't have people that respond to, violent situations that are well trained to handle that and only that.
Yeah.
Is that David Geffen? Tell him I'm busy. Is that the president of show business? Tell him we're doing a show here.
He keeps wanting to us. We have to say no.
Is that Rolling Stone? Just tell them you're doing this, and then you'll get to them.
I don't like that. Yeah.
Do they want to review the album?
They do.
And this keeps happening. I mean, it seems like this is a weekend activity almost. Like last weekend, they shot someone in Pasadena. This past weekend, Wisconsin.
It's every day, but we only hear about, certain cases, I guess. But
sure.
Yeah, and, all the time, just like our album, all the time.
It's nuts. And I appreciate you guys being willing to respond in real time to something like this, because I know it's hard, but it's very discouraging how many times on this show, because of the nature of this show, it's Get Your News On with Ron, where it's like, we just kind of see what's going on and we just like get our news on together. Because of the nature and premise of this show, we have discovered live shootings together, be it me and the audience or me and the guest or me and whoever else. I don't know how many times. I've lost count.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to what's going on with law enforcement in the United States. And when you see something like this, how can you not say we need radical systemic change?
I believe in change. I believe we can change. Education is very important. And we can re-educate anybody, I think. There is hope.
I hope so.
I mean, Medicare for all is so important for mental health as well.
Right. I mean, well, that's the thing. Like, better social services prevents crime in the first place.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Right.
So it's like we never, and I think the interesting parallel to healthcare is whether it comes to healthcare or crime, the United States doesn't give a hoot about preventative measures.
Yeah.
They don't care because there's not as much profit in that for the powerful.
True.
Like, there's no profit in, investing in people's health and well-being early and telling them to eat right and telling them to, like exercise or telling them, whatever else.
Yeah, they want to keep
and treating them. They'd rather like operate on somebody.
Yeah.
They'd rather, and that's part of the problem. And the same with law enforcement. There's no money in these social, and when I say money, I mean money for the powerful. There's no money in social programs. There's no money in de-escalation. There is money in, the people who are profiting off of tanks being distributed to police bureaus all over the country. There is money in producing the tear gas and the rubber bullets, and it's the big defense contractors that are profiting off of this. There is money in that.
Yeah, these people who make the money off of all this misery, you would think that they want to live in a happy world, right? Like, who do they call when they have like a rodent in their yard? Which we love rodents, and we are anti-killing rodents, but cockroaches and stuff. They call an exterminator to kill the cockroaches. They want to live in a good world, is what I'm saying. They don't have shitty lawns. They have beautiful homes. So why not have a beautiful world that you can not be on house arrest with? You just want to stay in your bubble, Nancy Pelosi. You just want to stay in your little,
Well, how much ice cream is in the bubble?
I mean,
maybe she does want to stay in that bubble.
Bored of your bubbles. Don't you want the whole world to be happy and, I don't know, clean?
No. I think you're absolutely right, because that's another common theme too. Like so many people, especially, amidst the wealthiest among us, they kind of have this like, well, if it's not bothering me in my ivory tower, I don't really care. But it's like, yeah, don't you see the benefits of like a healthier society? Don't you see?
You want to go beyond your ivory tower? I mean, you watched Aladdin, Princess Jasmine. I mean, she had it all in her little bubble, but she wanted to escape.
And she was bored.
She was so bored. I mean, there's only so much ivory towerness you could take. You have to go beyond.
So what you're saying is, if we gave all poor people magic carpets, rich people would wake up and they'd realize, I mean, hey, I'm with you.
Exactly.
We need to give everybody who's not the 1%. They need genies and magic carpets. And then the rich people are going to be like, well, we got to get some of that. And it's like, I get it, rich people. We're more interesting than you. That's always been the case. Here's what you have to do about law enforcement. Here's what we have to do about education. Here's what we have to do about blah, blah, blah. And you have the resources to help us. And they're like, all right, as long as we get a piece of this magic carpet and a piece of the genie, we're in. And then it's just like, all right, but we're scared what you guys might wish for. We really are. We're scared what you might do with your 3 wishes, but we'll take that chance.
Exactly.
So, I want to move on to other news stories, but, putting a period on it, I really hope this guy pulls through. And I hope he can tell his story. I mean, it's so sad that the silver lining we can cling to is, well, at least this guy's not dead.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so sad that it happens. It's so sick that it happens. And the one thing, well, hopefully this guy pulls through. As of the recording of this, he's still with us. And hopefully he pulls through and gets to tell his story. Because, in so many other cases, including the one in my neighborhood, that guy's not alive to tell his side of the story. Unfortunately, all we have is the police side of the story, which does not add up. You look at the video footage that they made available here in Pasadena, which it took them a week, pretty much. Well, nearly a week. It took about 5-6 days for them to make that footage available. It does not match up to what the cops say happened. You don't see any visuals confirming what they say happened.
Yeah.
So, and that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound familiar? But, all right. So we'll move on to, Rahm Emanuel is, he was mayor of Chicago, I believe, right? Was that what he was? He was a couple different things. I'm like having a brain fart to what Rahm. Former mayor of Chicago. I want to make sure I got that right. And now he's working on being a comedian, which is weird. It's weird when you see, sometimes people make the transition from comedy to politics. That's something that Al Franken did. And but Rahm Emanuel, he wants to go politics to comedy. And here's his first satire piece that he did. Rahm Emanuel, this will be the year of the Biden Republican. Rahm Emanuel says, former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel said on CNBC that Democrats have an opportunity to flip disaffected Republican voters and retain them beyond the 2020 election. This will be the year of the Biden Republican. My view is you don't want this to be a transactional election. So Rahm Emanuel, he said that Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden has a chance to replicate an election strategy that helped elect Republican icon Ronald Reagan to the White House almost 4 decades ago. And what he's saying is he says the worst thing he could do is get on board with policies like a Green New Deal and Medicare for all. Now, here's what I have to say first, and I'm going to hand it over to you guys. There's a number of things that makes what he said completely bogus on every level. First of all, let's just compare it historically. What did Ronald Reagan have in 1980? He had the support of the Republican base completely. And what was happening over on the other side with the Democrats? The Democrats were making this big shift to the right. So Ronald Reagan didn't go to the Democrats. The Democrats came to Ronald Reagan because they were shifting to the right. That even started with Carter because Carter was a bit neoliberally. So that's what happened there historically. Does that mirror what's happening with Joe Biden? No, it's actually quite the opposite. Joe Biden does not have the Democratic base. You know what does have the Democratic base? Policies like Medicare for all and a Green New Deal. 87% of the Democratic base wants Medicare for all. Joe Biden's still not for it. So right there, false analogy right there. Ronald Reagan had the Republican base. Joe Biden doesn't have the Democratic base. The Democrats were shifting farther to the right and going towards the Republicans. Is that happening? Are Republicans shifting more to the left? Overall, no, that's not happening. So there's another false analogy. What is actually happening that would make Rahm Emanuel's analogy anything other than bogus? What is happening is that you're seeing people across the political spectrum responding positively towards populist policies, getting back to Medicare for all. 70% of the American public wants Medicare for all. So if Biden was actually for Medicare for all, or if we had a nominee who was for Medicare for all, which guess what? We had one. His name was Bernie Sanders. That candidate would get the Democratic base. And by the way, when I say base, I mean all the people. I don't mean the establishment. We know that Joe Biden has the establishment. That candidate would get the Democratic base, like Reagan had the Republican base. And that candidate would be able to communicate with the right and turn them on even more so to Medicare for all, because you can make the case across the political spectrum in the United States. Hey, small business owner. The Republicans love small businesses and words, right? Hey, small business owner, how easier would your life be if you didn't have to worry about your employees' health care anymore because it wasn't tied to their job?
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you guys think? Is Rahm right on here? Is he nailing it? Am I missing it?
You're right with everything because you're a friend.
Perfect answer. You're right with everything there. You're our friend. What do you think, James?
So we were Bernie people, definitely. We love Bernie. And what do you think, James?
I agree totally with, I guess the establishment, again, has it wrong what regular people want. I mean, isn't it 80% approval for Medicare for all?
I think the last thing I saw was overall it's 70, and then with the Democratic base, it's like 87, pushing 90%.
90%.
But either way, it's very, very high. And for him to just be against it, it's like comparing him. The only thing Joe Biden has in common with Ronald Reagan is politically they're the same. I mean, Joe Biden might actually, I don't know if you could say he's to the right of Ronald Reagan, but politically they're the same. That's the only thing they have in common.
Reagan. I think they're both neoliberals.
Very much so. Reagan would at least say things like everyone should have health care, which I guess Joe Biden says that too. I mean, they're just empty platitudes. That's why I'm like, I think they're pretty much the same. Like, I think politically they're the exact same thing. And that's the only thing they have in common. And it's just amazing the mental gymnastics people do to justify the Democratic establishment continuing to shift to the right, which why do they do that? To please their donors. I mean, I think Rahm Emanuel actually knows better. I think he knows that this is just complete bullshit, what he's spewing. That it's actually gaslighting because the opposite is the case.
Who elects? I mean, he's elected, right?
He was the mayor of Chicago. I actually don't even know what all he's up to now. Yeah, I don't even know what he's up to now. Just saying ridiculous things to the press, I guess. That's what he's up to now.
Can't trust anybody until we get all money out of politics. This should be a prison sentence to accept money.
It's legal.
I know, but we can't trust anybody. Nobody.
You know what I think we should do? I think, obviously, we should certainly get money out of politics. And then I think the other big thing we should do is we should have to recruit our people. I think, like, and I know that's kind of like, whoa, Ron, that's pretty radical. But really, the Greeks had that idea. When the Greeks were coming up with the idea of democracy, that was one of the ideas they were kicking around. That, like, hey, if you want to run for, if you want to be a public official, if you want to be in the palace and serve, you should be recruited. You shouldn't be able to nominate yourself. We don't nominate ourselves for awards. You guys can't say, hey, we're up for a Grammy. We nominated ourselves.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Why should people be able to say, I'm going to be a public official, I'm running for office? And, I think we should have to recruit people. And you might say, Ron, that's kind of crazy. I don't think I don't know if that would work.
That's
My
great.
question to you, could it possibly be worse than what we have now?
The Roman Empire is the best way of life.
What are you saying?
These are the Romans, right? Am I having a Kelly Bundy moment? There are Stroms in the world. That's what you said, right? The Romans?
Well, the Greeks.
Okay,
the
whatever.
Greeks.
Same thing. From back then. Okay.
Well, yeah. Well, the ancient, like, Italian
ancient people that were
smart. The ancient people that were smart.
They had running water. They had beautiful societies. There were no homeless people.
Well, they had, I mean, the ancient Greeks and the ancient like Italian, I mean, they had like
Not like homeless people today. You know, they had baths.
They had income disparity.
Yeah, but they had baths. They could clean themselves in the public baths. I've seen the movies. I've seen Jesus with that blind guy going to the bath with all the other rich folk.
Well, you know what's crazy is like Capri before the volcanoes and stuff. It's actually crazy, like how advanced of a society they really were as far as the stuff they had like spas and stuff.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Like they had that stuff like just for people.
Yeah.
And I think like you had to have means to access that stuff, but it was a pretty
It was available to every citizen. Yeah.
The
comparatively speaking.
Yeah, the blind guy in the Jesus movie. He was like, I could see it. He came from the street into the baths with all the emperors and everybody, and they didn't say, "Get out of here, you're homeless."
If it happened in a Jesus movie, it's got to be true.
Exactly.
We can't dispute that. But no, I see what you're saying. It was different. And what's interesting too is like, but yeah, when they were coming up with the ideas for just like democracy and stuff like that, it was just one of the ideas they floated out there that like we could potentially recruit our leaders. And I think it's an idea that we quite frankly should have listened to. And it's not too late. We can do that. And I don't see how a situation like that would be worse than what we have now.
Yeah.
I think it could only get better.
Yeah. We used to have running water in the Roman era, right? And then
they did. They did.
Barbarians came and took it all away, took out, they just ruined the party for everybody. And then we had running water again. So we could go up, down, and back up again.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, it's crazy because I've been to the ruins at Capri. And you see, like, they show you how all of it worked because even amidst the ruins, you can like see, and they would show you. So this is how irrigation worked back then. And it's actually amazing, like how they did it. Like there's all these like ridges and it went through there and it's incredible. I mean, when you see what ancient civilizations have done, I mean, just the fact that Venice exists is like they built a freaking city on water. Like it's unbelievable. Now, it's in some trouble because of climate change. It's in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
But, you know, putting that aside for a moment, just the fact that it's a thing.
Stonehenge.
It's just mind-boggling.
You don't even know how they did that, Stonehenge.
There's so many things they've done that we can't explain. Isn't that incredible? All these centuries later, we don't know, even with all of our technology,
it's some kind of alien.
She watches Ancient Aliens.
We watch Ancient Aliens.
It's not impossible. I mean, when you look at things, and again, I mean, we talk about aliens some on this show, and it's just through the lens of like, hey, I don't know, we're open skeptics here, you know, and it's fascinating to me. I watch a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah.
But it's like when you look at stuff like, I mean, just all the stuff we don't know about the Grand Canyon, even like when you look at some of these mystic, just parts of the world and things in the world, yeah, it's totally plausible that there were more advanced civilizations that came here and did whatever. I mean, we don't know. There's probably aqua-based cultures that we're still finding out about that we don't really know a lot about. They have found tools, and this is recent. This is like within the past decade or so. They found tools that indicates that, oh yeah, there were probably humans that dominantly lived on water and figured out how to do it, which for all we know, that might be where mermaids came from. That might be where that myth came from. They might have seen humans actually living that way. Were they actual mermaids? No, they weren't. But that's where that myth comes from. They saw people living that way and they're like, oh, they must be half fish.
I mean, we did come from the ocean, according to this one show we watched. We started off in the ocean as these little organisms, and then we became human. So we could.
You mean evolution? Are you talking about evolution?
We started in the ocean.
Okay. Yes, everyone started in the ocean.
Everyone started in the ocean.
That's evolution.
Okay, did you know everyone started in the ocean, Ron?
Maybe that's why we love it so much.
He did it. Why are you acting like I'm Kelly Bundy?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, say exactly. He's like,
well, life started in the ocean.
Okay, well, he didn't know that.
Well, no, I knew that. I didn't know, like, as far as like our chapter.
Us. We
Yeah,
came
yeah.
Well,
Supposedly,
everyone's chapter started in
the ocean.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know humans came from the ocean.
Well, there were single-celled organisms. Anyways.
Whatever. We could be mermaids, is what I'm trying to say. There's a reason why we all feel good when we go to the ocean, right? You go to the ocean, you feel really good. Maybe that's our mermaid connection.
No, it's possible. And yeah, like when you trace it back to like the most earliest, like what, like crustaceans and stuff, like it's all in the ocean.
I just love the Little Mermaid so much. I just want to be Ariel.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't want to be?
Sings that song all the time in the shower.
What are people saying in the chat? I can't see the chat from here.
So I want to do one more news story, and then I want to talk music. I actually didn't dive into this. I wanted to dive into this live with you guys because check this out. Joe Biden, this is just a fun political story. Joe Biden has been accused of plagiarism in the past, and guess what? Joe Biden faces new plagiarism claim over DNC acceptance speech. So Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden reprised his penchant for borrowing lines from other people's works last week. Now, by the way, he tweeted this and it got ratioed pretty hardcore, by the way. But here's what he said. For love is more powerful than hate. Hope is more powerful than fear. Light is more powerful than dark. Very, very deep there. But Canadian media quickly noted that the former Veep's words were uncannily similar to those of Jack Layton, the leader of Canada's left-wing New Democratic Party, who issued something similar. Love is better than anger. Hope is better than fear. Optimism is better than despair.
Oh, crap.
So now, to be like just totally objective here, those are kind of just cliches.
Yeah, it's just like, when we write a song, we like to go into a little bit of a deeper detail. We like details, and that's what makes a song really special to us, is not just like, it was a beautiful day and we could do it. I miss you, babe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come on, it's so cliche, and we could go deeper. Let's go deeper. Details, please. How are we going to actually do this? Like, what happens on day one? And what are you going to do about all the, the tears that are falling from everyone's face right now? Yeah,
no kidding. But here we go again. I mean, new plagiarism claim against Joe Biden, because this is all, it's really remarkable just how, I mean, I've said this before, like 2020 could not be pitched as a series or a movie because it would just be too unbelievable. Nobody would buy it. And and it includes like characters like Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Nobody would buy it. They'd be like, wait a second. So you're saying this dude, they're going to put up this guy who may have dementia, who can barely string together sentences, is going to get accused of plagiarism again, has enough skeletons in his closet he never has to decorate for Halloween. They're going to put this guy up instead of the guy who had an entire mass movement of people behind him. And the other dude is putting the country under martial law, gassing his own people for a photo op holding a Bible in Washington, D.C. And there's a pandemic going on. Well, all this, you got to be kidding me. And it's like, nope, that's 2020. It's real. It's real.
He hasn't started World War III yet, though.
Knock on wood. I mean, it's not November yet.
Is that when World War III is supposed to happen?
I have no idea.
Oh.
I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea when World War III could happen, but it's like...
They had that 6-foot asteroid that has a 1% chance of hitting us.
That's tweeted that out. Yeah, I got a kick out of that. So if it does hit us, it's going to be like pretty small. I mean, because it's like a tiny thing.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty like eerily funny that it's going to happen the day before the election day if it does.
Yeah.
It's like I wonder, how long is it going to be before neoliberals complain that the asteroid's taking votes away from Joe Biden? A vote for the asteroids, a vote for Trump. You can't. So let's talk music. I want to talk the new album, All the Time.
All the time.
Well, that's what the album's called. And also, I just want to talk about it all the time. That's all I want to do these days. I just want to talk about Fire Tiger's new album. Aww. But and let's talk about the elephant in the room here. Guest credits. Third one down. Ron Placone. So should we? Do we get to? Do you guys want to share the story of how that came to be? I mean, it's your guys' album, so I don't want to.
Yeah. So we went to your show, and we were just stuck on we were non-inspirational, and then you inspired us with the beer and the cute little pub that we were at, and being together with you, and that inspired part of the song. And also Red Foo.
He's well, which one is he on? Is he on the same one as me?
He should be, because he also inspired us to.
Well, it says track 2 is him. So Many Fishes is him.
Yeah, we should have put him on Magical Brew too, because he was like, "You guys need a song about like a drink that inspires you and makes you feel alive." And I was like, "Magical Brew."
Yeah. So you guys came to me with the melody. And we were like, let's work on some lyrics. And the thing I came up with was just too absurd. You guys were like, Ron, that's very funny, but it's just too absurd for what we do. We're going to
use those lyrics for another song in our, we'll work on it together for album 4.
All right. Deal.
We didn't want to he wanted to do Magic Mushroom, but I was like, you know what? We need to keep it, like I've never even tried shrooms. That'd be lying to myself. Talking about magical mushrooms, like.
So I feel like that's got to go on your to-do list before the pandemic's over. I mean, now's the perfect time.
Yeah. I want to talk to trees. I do. I feel like they're calling my name. And I want to know what they're saying behind my back. And
one time when I was on shrooms, I didn't get to talk to the tree, but I thought it was growing. Like I thought it was growing in real time. Like I was like, that tree's getting like taller. And the grass was also growing in real time for me. Like I was just standing in the grass and it was like just growing over my feet and stuff.
You didn't get a feeling that they're beings, like they have a kind of a soul or a spirit?
No, at one point I kind of thought like death's not real, which kind of freaked me out a little bit. I'm like, I have to be a little more careful in the future when I do this. Cause like at one point I started like, I was listening to the Beatles very intensely. And I was just like, really, like death's not real because John Lennon's alive right now because I'm experiencing this music and yeah, but I didn't have like it was all positive though. Like I didn't think any like malicious thoughts with that. I was just getting like really inside my head, I guess. But I think now's a perfect time.
Yeah, okay. I'm just afraid of having like another panic attack.
Well, I mean, yeah, I can't promise you wouldn't have a bad trip, but the important thing is I'll be your guys' chaperone. I'll volunteer to be the chaperone.
Watch us talk to trees.
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, like, and some people use one, some people don't, but I think it's good to have one, especially if it's your first time, where you basically just kind of have a sober person who just kind of like keeps an eye on things.
You and then puts it on YouTube and.
yes, it's good. I'm gonna make my own fire tiger behind the music, and it's just gonna be like your guys' trip live stream for the entire time. But yeah, like they basically. I remember like the one time I did it, like our roommate at the time. This was back in college, but our roommate at the time, she was the sober person, and I remember I was talking to her. I was like, oh man, you have such fancy dress. That's so neat what you're wearing right now. Why did you get dressed up? And she was like, Ron, I'm in my pajamas. And I was like, but she had like these very colorful pajamas. Like they were these like, cause like later she was like wearing them again. And she's like, yeah, you were like really into these pajamas. You thought these pajamas were just the bee's knees. Like you thought I was in a gown. You thought I was getting ready to go to a big event with these pajamas, and they're just my pajamas, but I get it. They are bright and colorful, and you were very intrigued. So I was really into these pajamas that she had on. But so let's talk so Magical Brew. We got together, we started bouncing lyrics off of each other, And some of the lines we came up with that night, you all kept, and some of them you kind of tweaked a little bit. And again, you changed it from a song about mushrooms to a song about a magical brew.
Yeah.
Because the mushroom song is going to be on the next album.
Yeah. I think by then I will have shrooms on my pizza that James places without me knowing. So then I will have to sing about the shroom.
Yeah.
And there's a mushroom on the album cover too that I put there.
There you go. Is there? Ah, I found it.
There you go.
I found it. I don't think the viewer can see it.
Shroom trip.
There we go.
Yeah.
There's the mushroom. There's the mushroom. I did shrooms during a pandemic because I thought, why not? I didn't have a bad trip. In fact, it was pretty hot. Shrooms, right? We're doing it. We're doing it right now.
Didn't you make an announcement like a week ago that you're starting a band also?
I want to. I really want to. Yeah, I really want to have a band where we just do like covers of music that I like and that the band would presumably like to. And we just do. I mean, I've been doing those rewrites of protest songs that I've been doing by myself. Both I was doing them live, and now I've been doing them, live, quote unquote, during the Zoom shows that we've been doing.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
I wouldn't mind having a band to have that with, like just a little goofy cover band or whatever. But I got some emails about it, but you can't really get together with people right now because of the pandemic. So it's more like just something I want to do this when the world is back, because I don't know about you guys. I don't mean to sound cheesy when I say this, but I do mean it sincerely. When all this is over and we go back to performing live again, I am going to treat every single show like it's the last time I will ever be on stage. And I am never, and it does. I could be at a dive shit open mic in Los Angeles to 5 disinterested people who are looking over their shoulder to see if like somebody in the industry walks in, and I just want to try out my new jokes. I don't give a shit. I'm going to treat it like it's my last time ever on stage, and I'm going to try to make the absolute most of it no matter what. Because I'm just like, it hurts not being able to perform live. It's brutal. And it's just I'm never going to take this for granted ever again. I mean, I don't know if I ever did, but if I did,
Have you taken it as an opportunity to work on material though and stuff like that?
Of course, I've been writing, but it's not the same as just, I mean, stand-up's one of those things, like you have to do it on stage. Because it's like, if we were a band, we would be like, the audience is in our band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like the audience would be in our band. So it's like we need to be on stage to really do what we do. And yeah, the Zoom shows are a reasonable substitute, but it's just not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do have outdoor shows and stuff.
Have you guys done any of that yet?
No, not yet.
No,
we haven't seen our band in person since the pandemic.
So when you guys produced the album, were you guys just producing it yourself? Like everything had been recorded at that point?
Yeah, exactly. This pandemic has helped us in a way to finish the album, because we were stuck at home and we weren't going out to bars or shows or having fun. We had to stay home and do our homework, and that was to finish the album. Fine. Remember we kept telling you, like, we're going to finish the album. You're like, it's not done yet? A year later, it's not done yet? Every time we
Did
saw
I say Was I album shaming you? Like, when's the album done?
Everyone was. They're like, it's not done yet?
I was just curious.
No, it's so true, though. Like, you can't go out and do an album. You just can't. You can't tour. You can't play shows. You can't do anything. You have to be at home in your cocoon and finish it. And
yeah,
I'm happy that we were forced to do that.
I mean, yeah, that's the one silver lining. The thing that sucks for stand-ups is we can't, our albums have to happen at a live show.
Yeah.
So we can't I was going to do a special this year that just got canned. I mean, there was just no way to do it. I was going to do an album too, like along with the special.
A vinyl record, right?
I was hoping to put it on vinyl, man. This is expensive. Vinyl pressings are very, very expensive. And for my first album, the label was just like, Rahm, we just don't have the budget for that. Yeah. I was like, okay, but
it's expensive.
but it sounds great. I mean, it sounds, and the new album sounds great. So you know, you mentioned the pandemic helped you finish it. Do you guys always do like the militant, like record tour?
Well, we've never actually went on an official tour.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I'm just not. I don't think I'm a touring person. I'm gonna be honest. I like to stay home with my dogs and work on new songs. I'd rather put my time and energy to write big songs, and that takes a lot of energy. You can't do that on the road.
So you guys are like the new you guys are like Steely Dan-esque in that regard.
Is that what they did? They stayed home and
they didn't like performing live very much, so they more were just all about the records.
I love performing live, but it takes so much energy away from. That's 10 more songs that I could have written. You know, see how we didn't finish the album because we were out playing shows on the Sunset Strip. We did play a lot of shows,
right?
Hollywood at the Whiskey, and you know we play like once every month or once every 2 months, and that takes a lot of energy because you have to promote, prepare yourself, get a camera guy, find out what you're going to wear, rehearse with the band, and that's like a whole month of doing it. You know, especially as an unsigned band, you have to promote yourself every day to fill that place, and so it's just too much. I mean, I like it when I'm on stage. I'm like, oh, this is great. You know, an hour passes by. It's fantastic. But then I come home and I'm like, I didn't finish the album again. Another month of no album for the world.
Mm-hmm.
It pisses me off kind of. So so I guess I'm the Steely Dan of the band. And the rest are like, I want to go around the world and, you know, go meet chicks. I know my guys on a tour. They're inspired by the women. And I'm just I want to stay home with my dogs.
Hey, I'm a married man and I still love touring. I just love, I mean, I love being on the road. I love playing the shows.
Kind of different. They just want to go out and meet the girls. But I mean, they could like performing too. That could be something they like to do.
I like playing live. I mean,
here's just like, this band of mine. I know what they're really after. Yeah.
Which is normal. It's a natural human instinct to go or meet new people and explore. But yeah.
Well, what do you think about festivals? Would you guys? I mean, maybe you guys are like more of a festival band.
We did play Canada.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they chose us out of like 2,500 bands. I was like, holy crap, 2,500 bands? How the hell did you even find us? I guess we were the last band on their list.
Because, I mean, really, if you're doing festivals, you could bring the dogs, presumably.
Yeah. You know, we could tour. You know, I don't know. I'd rather just drink coffee and think about doing shrooms one day.
Oh, you're going to do it, Tiffany. This is like we are going to make this happen. And again, you don't have to use me as a chaperone, but I do volunteer my services. I will be your chaperone if you want me to. And I won't live stream it. Don't worry. But that'll be a good time. Well, what do you want to say about this album? Like, how is it different from other ones? I mean, I know the pandemic made the process a little bit different and it was sort of, you were able to make lemonade out of lemons and use it to really finish this thing. But as far as like the song, as far as the music, where did you go this time around?
I think I've been talking too much. Too much coffee. You answer this, Dane.
There's no such thing.
Sometimes the hardest questions are like the softball questions.
Okay. So what was the question? How is this different than our other albums?
Yeah. What do you want to say about this album? Like what are some of the particulars? I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought the songs were great. It was very, you know, you guys are, you know, very synth poppy, a lot of hooks, and that's what you guys do, and you do it great.
Thank you. Well, we love to hook people in. We love to fish. And well, there's a song called
You need one more hook analogy. You need one more.
Yeah, So Many Fishes is a song on there, so we are hooky. But yeah, we like every album that we had, you know, we just go into it with writing the best songs that we can. We don't think, oh, let's make it 80s or 70s or 60s. We never have that mentality. That's always in the production mullet over here, this mullet man who makes it over the top 80s, in my opinion. Some of the songs are like, wow, that's so 80s or so 70s. That's all in the production, which is James. And as far as the other songs, there's nothing political, nothing too intense. I think our first album, we had a political song called Fancy War Dance. And I remember this one comment, this guy's like, what about the white man? We built everything. And I'm like, I'm just reciting, my lyrics sound like the story of Pocahontas, basically. I was basically copying Pocahontas. So he needs to complain to Disney, not me. Anyway.
He's just looking out for the marginalized, the poor white man.
It was
the poor white man has it so tough.
Yeah. So that kind of made me feel like, okay, nothing political in the future. Let's just be pop and happy. And I mean, there's so many things you could talk about.
Is it hard for musicians to be political? Like, is it? Because it seems like, I mean, I feel like in the whole world of entertainment now, whether it's music or comedy or whatever, it's like you can find people that are going to like what you do. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not saying like that means you guys have to make that choice or not make that choice. That's up to you guys as songwriters, and it's not for everybody. But like looking at it big picture, do you think it's hard for musicians that choose to be outspoken?
It used to be great in the 80s, right? They used to have a lot of anti-war songs, and you'd hear political songs left and right in the great 80s.
Well, in the 60s too, right? I mean, 60s,
80s, maybe the 50s as well. Now it's like they don't want to, if you want to go mainstream, they don't want to market that because maybe they're getting paid by the military industrial complex. Who knows? And, we want to go mainstream. That's our goal. And then we could talk about all the other stuff. So, there's actually a lot of mainstream singers that did that. Just
right.
One of them, he had this music video with some very crazy stuff in the background. I couldn't believe he even said that. But yeah, you could go political once you're big, I think. But to start off, you need to talk about flowers, sunshine, and that bird on your window.
Well, what does going mainstream exactly mean these days? And I'm asking as somebody who, I mean, it seems like these labels are ripping the artist off harder than they ever have. And it seems like the audiences for music is so divided. I don't think there will ever be another Nirvana. I don't think that will ever happen.
It could happen.
You think?
Well, like I said, we had Running Water and then it disappeared and then Running Water again. So I think we definitely have it in us. We could repeat history, not just the bad history, but the good history.
But by Nirvana, you mean like a giant change in music, like an overhaul?
Yeah, like a giant change in music where there's this like one act that of course then spawns more acts that really represent a shift in underground music. I mean, Nirvana spawned from like the college indie punk scenes of that time, and then a lot of bands saw a lot of success because of them.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happen. I mean, there will always be pop music that's meant for the radio. And as that becomes more and more obsolete, I don't know what's going to happen there.
He was pop too, by the way. He was.
Oh, he totally was.
Yeah.
He totally was. When you really strip down his songwriting, it was so Beatles-esque. So Beatles-esque.
It's a good thing. You want to pop. You want to pop out.
Oh, I agree. I love pop music. No, I don't mean, and pop music is such a broad concept. Like when we're talking like Nirvana pop versus, something on the radio or top 40. Top 40 is its own thing, but it's all pop music.
Yeah. Popular.
Mm-hmm.
And what we need to do is just make pop music a little cooler again. So just add a little bit of sugar and spice because it is lacking in ingredients. And I think we can go back to that big Nirvana time or Michael Jackson, these big artists that inspired you and we're magical. I think we can. I think Lady Gaga was like that. I think she
she totally was.
she was a great example of a meteor coming down and waking us all up and entertaining us like the greats of the past. She has that bigness about her.
Well, and what's interesting is like you look at some of the pop stars right now, and even though like musically a lot of them aren't my personal cup of tea just as a listener, but I recognize there's so much immense talent. I mean, Lady Gaga's extremely talented. I don't see how anyone could say she isn't. Bruno Mars, extremely, extremely talented. I mean, these are just very, very talented people that are also like a big portion entertainer. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think something like that will always exist on the mass level. Yes. Kurt Cobain was not an entertainer. In fact, in some ways, that dude was quite the opposite, really. They were just a band. And, I wonder if anything like that could ever happen again. I lean towards no, because, I mean, you can call it postmodernism or whatever you want, but because of where we're at technologically, where we're at digitally, where we're at culturally and societally, it's more like there is no big piece of the pie to grab. There's just a bunch of different pies out there now, and we can all get a piece.
Yeah, it's too many people are on stage. Like, imagine you go to a show and the whole audience is on the stage with you. Like, where's Rahm Placone? Where is he? That's what it feels like. It feels like there are more artists and people who are trying to be artists than there are people in the audience. Do you ever feel that way? Probably not as a comedian, but
no, you'd be surprised. I mean, it's really tough. Well, you guys have come to a lot of my shows, so I mean, it's for especially here in LA, it's very tough to get comedy audiences in LA. Like, it's just very tough because this is one of the capitals, or at least, it was. We'll see when this is all over if it still is. But, it's one of the capitals. People have seen it all before. Yeah. And, it's basically LA to comedy is like how Nashville is to music. It's like very tough to like get people out because they've just seen it all. They're a little, I don't want to overgeneralize because some of the biggest music fans in the world live in places like Nashville, and some of the biggest comedy fans in the world live in places like LA. But it's like, we've seen it. We've seen it. Where are you going to take us?
You have to be like a big signed act known worldwide and then come here and then you'll pack the house.
Yeah.
Gain the respect of the world before you impress the people here.
Yeah. I mean, that's the truth. And it's like, that's just kind of the LA way. But yeah, I mean, I feel like music, it's so crazy because it's like there is no music club, quote unquote. Like there's rock clubs and there's punk clubs, and then there's clubs that are just, historically legendary, like the Whiskey, or like even, and then there's the Viper, and they kind of have their own thing. But like music is it's so vast and it's so broad, and like I personally, I don't know how you do it these days as far as like finding people that are going to be into what you're doing. Because the amount of outlets out there, it's endless.
100.
It's endless.
Yes, I know. It gives me anxiety thinking about it. It's like we were looking at just, cruising Reverb Nation. Reverb Nation is a music website. And we're usually number one in the rock category on that. It isn't a big deal at all. It's not a big deal. It's not like a major website. But, there are just thousands of bands just in our city alone, in our zip code. And then there are thousands of record labels because we were trying to make a record label and we were trying to figure out names. And there is a record label for every name we were thinking about. And then under those record labels, there's hundreds of artists that are signed.
Yeah.
And your mind just explodes. It's like universes, galaxies with tiny little stars, endless supply. There are more people in bands and trying to be a singer than there are people.
That's what it seems like. Yeah,
it seems like there's more people in bands than there are people in the world.
Did you see that? This was a funny meme. You see those memes where like people are masked up in the pandemic, and they have like, if you're masked up, like the chances reduces of you passing COVID. And there's that one at the end where they show two people and they both have masks on. And the one person goes, "Hey, you should listen to my band," and the other person's running away, and it says 0% chance. Have you seen those?
I've seen one where they were playing live in the street.
Oh, that was funny.
And they were
That's
like,
funny.
running away from that. But that's how it is. Yes.
Do you think people will? This is just a fun little audience live performer question, especially since not only are we both live performers, but we also are based in LA. Which I've always said, LA is so flaky. Our city bird should just be a croissant. Do you guys think that when this is all over, do you think that the whole, "Hey, I'm going to be at your show," and then not showing up, do you think that's going to become a thing of the past?
Maybe for like a week, they'll be like, "I love you, man." And then they'll be like, "Hey, I'm over it." It's like when you get back into a relationship, you're like, "I'm really going to try this time." And then you get back to like looking like shit.
I remember your guys' big release show. I was flying that day.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I am going to try to be there. But like, I just straight up said, this is when I'm supposed to land. So this is like the earliest I would potentially get there. So I would probably, and I think like we mapped it out where it was like best case scenario, I would make it about 3/4 way through your set. That's like best case scenario. If I walk my fastest, get my bag first, and got like, the quickest taxi or whatever straight to the venue. And I remember the flight ended up being delayed an hour anyway. So it was just like my chance was just blown out of the water. But I always like, whenever I say I'm going to be at a live show, I am there.
Yeah, I know. I know.
And if I'm a maybe, there's a reason for that maybe. And it could be I'm in the air traveling through space.
We remember when you showed up to our first show. That was so unreal because we were watching you every day, and everyone,
Graham brought you.
Yeah, Graham brought you. And usually when we have a show, it's really stressful because when we arrive, all your friends come. They're like, "Can I get in free? Put me on the list." Am I on the? It's like I have to be on stage in 5 minutes, and my mom is there, and she's like, "Did you put me on the list?" And I have to deal with all. And then I saw you guys. I'm like, "Oh my god!" So it was just really cool to see you in like all the chaos. Yeah, at first I didn't think it was you. I thought it was me dreaming.
No, it was me. That was you guys crushed it that night. I remember that show. I mean, yeah, you guys you closed with Energy, which is one of your guys' hits, and then I remember it was a really big deal for me because I got to go backstage at the Whiskey, which I mean that's just a legendary rock club, man. I mean that's like I'm like Jim Morrison did Who Knows What back here all these years ago.
Yeah, amazing.
It's sad to see the world shut down right now. Because I mean, I mentioned this to you guys off mic, and I guess I'll just bring it up. I was in Hollywood 2 days ago to pick up a book. I ordered a book from Book Soup in West Hollywood, and I was like, I might as well pick it up just so I can have somewhere to go.
Yeah.
And feel like a person. They did a thing. You had to call a number, tell them you're outside. Then they would put your book on like a table outside, and then you just grab it. So that's what I did. And it's so weird to see the Sunset Strip just look abandoned. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here. I really don't.
Is basically shut down. They say until 2022, we won't have live shows. Unfortunately.
What are they saying? 2022 now? Why?
That's what this one guy said. He's in charge of all. He's a big guy in the touring world. I forgot who it is, but he said probably not till 2022 because they don't want to be responsible for people suing them, and they have to get their insurance in order. Because people are going to come out left and right saying, "I caught COVID at your show. You didn't take the precautions. You owe me $1 million." That's going to happen.
Oh, God.
Happens all the time. So they're trying to prevent that and see if they could get some insurance policy going, or maybe everyone signs a contract before they step into their place. So
I mean, man, I hope that's not the case. I mean, I'm hoping that by next year we can do this again. I mean, and it might not be right away next year. It might not be till summer or fall of 2021.
Yeah.
But I sincerely hope it's another year of not. I mean this, and I get it. There are many worse things in the world than not being able to tour. I totally understand that, but it's
Maybe backyard
I
shows
think-
will be a thing.
Well, outdoor general shows. Aren't they doing stuff at the Comedy Store? Like
They were doing some stuff where they were using the deck. But I think there's still questions as to how safe that is. I mean, I just straight up put a Twitter poll just to see. Like, I was like, hey, I just want to ask my audience, like, what are your thoughts on? And it was about 65-35. 65 was like, with proper safety precautions, outdoor shows are fine. 35% were saying we need to wait a little longer. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think there is a right or wrong answer, really. You're just making a judgment call. But I don't know. I would like to think we would have some amount of touring normalcy back by 2021.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it will be like an outdoor thing. Like maybe it will be like you need to do like house shows in people's yards or something. I mean, I'd do that over nothing at this point. I mean, I don't know, but
tried house shows?
Huh?
Have you tried like a house show? Or...
I did. I used to do house shows before, like even before this. It was just one of the things I would do occasionally. And they can be a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot of like folk musicians and stuff that do them for a living. Because it's a whole circuit.
Yeah, Ed Sheeran started off doing house shows.
And he probably built a huge following that way.
He did that.
Because I mean, for you guys, I mean, you wouldn't really fit in at like something like Folk Alliance, getting back to the whole music is so broad.
I'm thinking we could do like acoustic shows.
I would love to see all acoustic.
Thanks.
So let's do a backyard show. I'm going to do a set. I'll close with a few protest tunes. So there's a little bit of music mixed in right away. And then you guys do an acoustic set. We see how it goes.
That'd be great.
Let me know when. Let's make it happen.
Okay. Does anybody have a house in the chat section?
Yeah.
No. Anywhere in Los Angeles.
Anywhere in Los Angeles, we're ready. We're ready to make this happen. So where can people, in the meantime, where can people go to find out more about you and pick up the new album?
FireTigerMusic.com. That's our website. And
was that like a moment of which one's going to plug the website?
Sure.
Well,
yes, that was. I'm like, our website.
Well,
right?
no, I feel like I'm talking too much. Like I had all the coffee and I have a speech impediment on top of it.
Why didn't James have any coffee?
Yeah, James.
I had some coffee. I'm coming down from the coffee.
Oh, you're having your crash.
Yeah.
He drinks like 12 cups a day.
You got to space it out, man. You got to space it out. That's what my mom does. My mom spaces out. My mom will drink a cup of coffee, caffeinated coffee, before she goes to bed. She has her before bed coffee.
Oh my God.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah. It's nuts.
Yeah.
So she does that to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Coffee just sets her right in general.
Like it could give you so much energy where you do crash at night. I could see that happening. I drink now valerian root tea. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it. I've never had it.
It works so well. I steep
it
3 hours, one tea bag, and it puts you to sleep. So like a baby. I love it.
That's awesome. I've done there's this stress relief tea that I like that I'll occasionally drink right before bed. And that does wonders for me. Like I appreciate that. But I've never tried valerian root tea.
So good. And it really is like Mother Nature's Xanax. I've never had Xanax, but I feel like when I drink it, this is how it's kind of like NyQuil feeling. And tea bags, I'm sure that would be like one Xanax.
All right. Right on. So let me thank the super chatters here. Sparky, what's up, buddy? Police are highly trained, ... mistrained. I'm with you, Sparky. Thank you very much for the super chat contribution. You keep the show on the air. Long Beach, what's up, buddy? Thank you very much for the super chat contribution. And you say, for the mermaid info. People like the mermaid talk, y'all. People like the mermaid talk. Guys, thanks so much for doing the show today. I appreciate it very, very much.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Everybody watching / listening later, go to FireTigerMusic.com. Check out their music. You can pick up the new album all the time, which yours truly helped on some of the lyrics on track 3, Magical Brew, which I got to say is my favorite track, but I'm a little bit biased. It's a great album, but I have a special love in my heart for track 3, Magical Brew.
For sure. You like brew.
I do. I like brewing. I like magic. And I like a guest credit. So I'm like, yeah, that's my jam. Guys, thank you so much for doing this. FireTigerMusic.com, everybody. Thank you, Sparky. Thank you, Long Beach. Again, FireTigerMusic.com. Sorry about the glitch earlier. I don't know what that was. The stream was just like, we're going to stop. That's what the stream was like. Yeah, we're done. And I was like, why'd you do that, stream? And then the stream was like, well, we're back. And then we were, and you guys in the chat verified that we're back. So thank you for that. We'll be back tomorrow. And in the meantime, you know the drill. Same time, by the way, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. In the meantime, Lucy says meow. I say